Hello everyone and welcome back to Memory Gamma. Today we're going to continue with our look at the independent faction by breaking down one of the smaller factions inside of it. So obviously I have previously done the Herosians, pulled out all the Herosian cards and had a look at them. We're going to do the same with another one of them. We're going to go to the Vidiians. So again, Vidiians are a Delta Quadrant based species encountered by a Voyager when they first go through the get pulled into the Delta Quadrant by the Caretaker. Encountered in the episode Phage, Neelix in his lungs. They are, as anyone who has seen the series, obviously they are organ harvesters. They are suffering from a disease which causes their bodies to shut down and fail on them, so they are constantly on the need for new replacement organs and for suitable biological matter. So what we have here is the Vidiian battle cruiser. There is only one class of ship, but there is 3 different named ships. So as I did with the Herosian, I'll pull the 3 ships up. I'll then go through the Vidiian specific captains, crew, elite talents, anything, weapon like that. Anything which came in the pack which is generic, I'm not going to cover here specifically. I'm simply going to go through and do everything that is Vidiian either locked or Vidiian adjacent, attributed to. So, the Vidiian battlecruiser. Now this is the very first one here, is the Phage Prime. This is actually the very first ship that was released for the Vidiians way back in, I think, Wave 9. However, this has been reprinted in the newer packs. So we're going to go to Phage Prime. The modern one is here. So, 3 attack, 2 defense, 5 hull, 3 shields. Reasonably good stat line. Little bit weak on weapons, but quite chunky. Normal Federation action bar, good. Double crew, double weapon, so no tech slots. Okay, hurts it a little bit, but again, the Vidiians didn't bring along any tech upgrades that's specific to them. As an action, place an Orcs power token beside the ship, target a ship at range 1 to 2, and destroy one of their shields. So you take an action, give yourself an Orcs power token, and you kill a shield on an enemy ship at range 1 to 2. Now that's nice. It is definitely, it's not a disable, it's just a destroy. They've lost a shield. It's an action phase. It's an activation phase. 1 point of shield damage. There are better things, but there are certainly a lot of worse things. And the Vidiians, as you'll see, have an awful lot of abilities around either disabling or discarding shields and dealing with enemy upgrades. And a lot of ways that you deal with enemy upgrades requires the enemy to have their shields down. So, Phage Prime. The next one we have is Harvester Prime, which is in the combat phase you can disable any number of your active shields and target an opposing ship at range 1 to 3, and you disable that number of shields -1 on the target ship. So this is a little bit of a, this is definitely a bit more of a situational ability, because you've only got 3 shields. So you could disable all 3 of your shields and you disable 2 shields on an enemy ship. Now, if you can't be shot this round and so you're not taking any damage, there's no downside to that. It makes that ship easier to destroy. Of course, it's not something you do if you're going to be able to shoot, because especially if you're going for, if you haven't got the best captain skill, if you're going to be firing second, you don't want to do this, because the enemy ship obviously is just going to have an easier time destroying you. Also, you have to disable at least 2 of your shields to get 1 of theirs. And you only have 3 shields. So unless you can get tech upgrades on this to boost your shield slots, which you can do, there are crew upgrades which grant you tech slots, which you can add bonus shields. But realistically, it's not an ability you're going to be using more than once. Generally, very first turn, drop all 3 of your shields, drop their 2 shields, and then pray that you can destroy them, or at least cripple them before they destroy you. So, not an amazing ability, but it has used it, especially in a fleet where this thing isn't the main target. And finally, Honata Prime. Honata Prime. When attacking, you may convert one blank into a hit for every crew upgrade on the defending ship. Now that's really nice, especially against crew heavy builds and the Fed, and even modern Klingons and Romulans who like bringing along lots of some of their interesting crew. Nivala, Tarul, Drex, Worf, Mara. There's lots of crew upgrades which are worth bringing these days, so that's going to happen more often, and it's just passive conversion. So, very good. There is obviously 2 generic ships. One of them has double weapon, one of them has double crew. 21 points. It's not bad, but it's, given it's only a 2-point difference and you gain a slot, a shield and an ability, if you're going to bring a Vidiian battlecruiser, bring a named ship. It's just a better value. So we have here, we're going to go down the list. So the very first one we have is the Vidiian Commander. Now this is actually the Vidiian Commander that we see, the first one that came along with the Fina Prime. So he adds +1 attack dice whenever you initiate an attack with a grappler, a hypothermic charge, or the action on a Vidiian boarding party. So basically he is what you bring if you're bringing the Vidiian special weapons. So he only works when you're using the Vidiian special weaponry and crew upgrades, but it's a passive bonus attack dice whenever you use them. And also nicely when performing the action on a boarding party upgrade. So the Vidiian boarding party normally requires you to roll a certain number of dice. He allows you to add an extra one, which is the only card in the game, if my memory serves me correctly, which alters the dice that you can roll during a boarding party or that sort of thing. So it's really nice, but it does require you bringing all of his things. Okay, the next one we've got Vidiian Captain. So this is just a generic Vidiian Captain. Skill 4, 3 points with a talent slot, so that's nice. Low skill talent slots are quite nice. In the planning phase, just target an opposing ship, and if you're a range 1, disable one of their crew upgrades. So that's just every planning phase you get to disable a crew on an enemy ship at range 1. It's nice. It's nice, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we have 2 more captains. We have Nadiram. So, action, place 3 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship at range 1. Discard one of their crew upgrades. And if he is equipped to a Vidiian battlecruiser, it's a free action. That's also really nice. So you stick him on a Vidiian battlecruiser, and as a free action, 3 time tokens on him to kill a crew upgrade on an enemy ship. Now, it is only range 1. It does require you being really close. But you put he's a Vidiian captain on a Vidiian ship, and it works. It definitely works. It's a free action to kill a crew upgrade at range 1. It requires you being quite close, but there's no problem with that. And the final one is Dereth. As a free action, if you did a speed 3 or greater maneuver this round, target an opposing ship at range 1 and disable one of their crew. Just see the theme with the Vidiians? So I'm going to very quickly just put a generic Vidiian down there and throw Dereth on there. So, Dereth gets a free action. If you're going really fast, you get disable crew as a free action at range 1. Nadiram is simply a free action to discard a crew upgrade, and the Vidiian captain is a passive disabling in the planning phase. All of these together work quite nicely. So, talents. So, the first one that came with the Vidiians is Decisive Orders. When attacking a ship that has no active shields, during the modify attack dice step, you can discard this card and choose 2 attack dice and re-roll them. even if those dice have already been re-rolled. That's the point. 4 points for a 2 dice re-roll against a ship with no shields doesn't sound brilliant. 4 points for a 2 dice re-roll against a ship with no shields, even if those dice have already been rolled or re-rolled. Brilliant. Now, doesn't have to have their shields disabled because you've done something to them. A cloaked ship, this works nicely on a cloaked ship, and cloaking shows up all the time now. So you fire at them, you've got your target lock, or even the enemy has triggered an ability to make you re-roll your dice. So you've rolled your hits, gone woohoo, they've gone nope, re-roll those 2 dice, we don't like them. Decisive Orders allows you to re-roll them back to where you want them. Nothing wrong with that. It's unique, which means you only have 1 of them, and it's a discard, so it's once, it's only 2 dice, but the fact that you can re-roll dice that have already been re-rolled makes it worth it. And the only other talent which came with the Vidiians is the Vidiian Sodality. So this may only be equipped to a Vidiian captain, which is Dereth, Nadirum, the Vidiian captain and the Vidiian commander. And also only on a Vidiian battlecruiser. So it has to be one of these captains on these ships. So it's very, very limited, but it's only 1 point. Now, whenever this ship or a card equipped to it disables or discards a crew upgrade on an enemy ship, you get a mission token. And whenever one of your crew, one of your independent crew or captains would be discarded, discard a mission token instead. So it takes some time to build up, but it's very Vidiian. As you go through and you harvest their crew upgrades by damaging or discarding them, they save your own people from being disabled or discarded. Brilliant. So that works quite nicely. If you can do that, for example, you've got the Vidiian boarding party coming up, which is the discards to use. Well, this means you can get multiple uses, or multiple uses out of any of the Vidiian crew upgrades that require you to discard them to use. Also, it's just if the enemy kills one of your upgrades, whenever they would be discarded. So if you've managed to discard a couple of their crew or disable a couple of their crew, then you get, you know, it gets to save your own stuff from being discarded by the enemy. So let's go to crew. So we're going to start with the Vidiian boarding party here. So if your ship is not cloaked, disable all of your remaining shields. Okay. Target ship at range 1 that is not cloaked has no shields. Okay. So it's really, really an end game thing. However, discard the card and roll 4 attack dice. For each hit or crit, the target ship must discard a crew upgrade of your choice. If you're grappling, perform the action as a free action. Now there is the combination. Vidiian commander, grappler, I'll come to that in a minute, Vidiian boarding party. You can fire the grappler, the following round. If you're grappling them, you get to perform the action as a free action. Nothing wrong there. And he makes it 5 dice. It is range 1. It is make sure you can't be cloaked and have no shields. They can't be cloaked or have any shields. So it's very short range. But it could be a really, really nice ability. Especially combined with the Vidiian commander and Vidiian Fidelity. Because obviously this thing here, you know, now, it discards a crew upgrade. If you discard 3 crew upgrades with Vidiian boarding party, you've picked up 3 mission tokens on Vidiian Sodality. Now, of course, you can't use the token you just placed to prevent the discard, but there's nothing to stop you putting the Vidiian boarding party and the Vidiian commander onto, you know, having another ability which disables a crew upgrade on their ship on a previous turn, and then you fire the Vidiian boarding party at them, you keep it, and you get a load more tokens. So, Sulan. Action, pick a ship at range 1. Discard this card and 1 crew upgrade of your choice on the target ship. If you're grappling the ship, you may also disable 2 other crew upgrades, and it may be used against a ship that is cloaked. So that's really nice. Doesn't require shields down, doesn't require you to be not cloaked. It's specifically you can do it against cloak. So Sulan is a range 1 action, discard him and 1 crew upgrade on the target ship, even if they're cloaked and have shields. If you're grappling them, you also get to disable 2 other crew upgrades, which again just feeds in more tokens into Vidiian sodality. So that's a nice upgrade. Our next one is Motura, just here. As an action, discard this card, target an opposing ship at range 1 to 2. Discard a crew upgrade on their ship. You can then do a speed 3 maneuver or less, but you can't attack this round. You don't have to do the maneuver if you don't want to, but if you do, you can't attack. I like that, very thematic. He is one of the Vidiians we see in Phage that helps steal Neelix's lungs, so they can discard a crew upgrade, and then they can, if they want to, run away. If they run away, they can't shoot. That's not a problem. It's fine. But again, really nice ability. And again, doesn't have to be cloaked, doesn't have to be not cloaked or have any deactivated shields. It's just pick a ship at range 1 or 2 and discard Motura to kill one of their crew. Vidiian Guard. Increase the captain skill of the Vidiian captain by 2. So he's a 2-point card that adds +2 to a Vidiian captain skill, which does make the Vidiian commander 9. It's pretty nice. Whenever an opposing ship within range 1 would remove a disable token from a crew upgrade, you can discard the Vidiian Guard and stop them from re-enabling. So, you're at range 1. The enemy goes, right, I'm going to use Julian Bashir, target him on Worf and re-enable Worf. You go, actually, I'm going to discard Vidiian Guard and stop you from re-enabling Worf this round, because it may not be removed this game round. So you go, they go to target their crew upgrade they want to re-enable, and you say no, and it locks down for the entire round, which means you then can't go, right, well, fair enough, I can't use Bashir, I'll use Phlox to re-enable everybody. Can't remove it at all. Porthos, none of them. So it locks that crew member down for the turn. You do have to discard the Vidiian Guard, but again, if you're on, say, the Vidiian Captain or Nadirum or Dereth, where you've got abilities to a free thing just to disable and build up Vidiian sodality tokens, you could use the Vidiian Guard multiple times. Definitely interesting. Sulan, who is action, discards, target at range 1, and disable 2 crew upgrades. So he's a different version of Sulan. He's a newer version. He doesn't replace, as far as I'm aware. He isn't one of the errated out versions. So just disable 2 crew upgrades on the target ship. So it works a little bit differently. There's no, this one here is a discard 1 and then disable 2 more if you've grappled them. This one is just a disable 2. Either one of them are nice. Both of them don't require the enemy to be decloaked or have deactivated shields. Both of them are only range 1. And then our final 2 are Dinara Pell. Target a ship at range 1 as an action. Discard her and 1 of their crew upgrades. If you're just grappling the target ship, disable Dinara Pell rather than discarding. She's just a range 1 even through shield or cloak boarding action that kills a crew. She's a 1-point card that kills a crew upgrade. Now that's amazing value. You get to range 1, you go bang, and you can kill a 5-point crew upgrade with a 1-point card. And if you're grappled, then you disable her, which means you could reuse her again. And finally, Dereth. Now this is crew version of Dereth. If one of your crew upgrades, including this one, is ever affected by an enemy ship, disable something of your choice on their ship. So you have Dereth on board, and he's a bit of protection. You know, I can't put him on there because he's obviously here a captain as well. But If the enemy goes mess with your crew, tries to discard or disable your crew or whatever, not only would you be able to discard a mission token to stop that from happening, but whenever it's affected, you can then disable one of their crew upgrades, which would then trigger you to get another mission token. So he's a really nice card to have with the Vidiian Sodality, because he allows you to keep feeding in that as a defensive, but then you can also keep himself alive. So there's lots of very nice stuff. We're on to the weapon cards now. The crew, as you see, are all about discarding enemy crew upgrades, discarding stuff, messing with the enemy ship. Very good against fed crew heavy builds. Weaponry. A hypothermic charge. Now, the hypothermic charge, this is the original one. 3 dice, range 1 to 2, disable. This attack ignores shields. Very nice. If they already didn't have shields, you get a free target lock effectively. Reroll any number of dice. Only for a Vidiian ship. So 3 dice, ignoring shields. If they didn't have shields to start with, you get a free reroll. And then Decisive Orders allows you obviously to reroll 2 of those dice again. And the Vidiian commander makes that a 4 dice attack. Nothing wrong with that. Grappler. Now this is the original version of the Grappler. Disable the card to perform the attack. The attack damages the target ship as normal. In addition, if you inflict at least 1 damage to the target ship's hull, you place a red grapple token beside that ship and the corresponding blue grapple token beside your ship. So this is, you fire it at them. If it damages the hull, then you've grappled them. Grappling does certain things. A, it enables certain Vidiian cards, Vidiian Boarding Party, Sulan, Donara Pell. It also limits movement of the 2 ships because obviously you're tied together. It's interesting. It does require you to do hull damage, which means their shields have already got to be down, which means that you're almost always better off just destroying them. But you know, he gets 4 dice with it. That's not bad. Chance to get a hit. You know, hit the ship. Stop. Even if all you do with it, stop it from moving very far for a turn. It's a nice maneuver control card, as well as enabling several of your other upgrades. The modern hypothermic charge is the exact same, only it's 2 time tokens. It still ignores their shield. If they had no shields, free rerolls. And the final one is grapplers. Now this here is the grappler, but with just the maneuver control part. There's no grapple token, which means this version of the grapplers does not work with the opponents, with the other Vidiian crew. So this grappler is prime weapon +1. So 4 dice to start with, so 5 dice if you're using the Vidiian commander. Nice. 2 time tokens. If they have no shields, you may re-roll all of your blanks. If this attack hits, not even hull damage, just hits, the defending ship can't do more than a speed 1 maneuver during the next game round. Perfect. So you fire it, 4 dice, maybe even 5 dice with the Vidiian commander. If you hit them and do anything, even all you do is a shield damage, then they're locked to a speed 1 maneuver next round. So that's definitely nice. It's very good maneuver control. It doesn't, as I said, combo with the grappling crew upgrades, but it definitely has potential. However, the 90-degree forward firing arc of these do make it a bit more limiting. But the fact that you only have to do any damage at all, just hit them, is more than enough to make it worth it. So, this is the Vidiians. Oh, sorry, and they don't have an admiral. That's the only admiral the Independent have got of Car, obviously, from the Herosian. So, this is the Vidiians. Ships are reasonably robust. Their maneuvers are reasonably okay. Standard dial, come about maneuver on a big ship is quite nice. All of their tricks, and I mean all of them, are about disabling or discarding enemy crew upgrades. And these days, with the Vidiian sodality, being able to keep your upgrades around. So all of their captains, besides the commander, are geared towards, pardon me, crew upgrade effect. The weapons are good against ships with no active shields. So these actually do, the Vidiians are actually a bit of a soft counter to Romulans or any other cloakers, because almost all of their abilities have stuff that works against ships with no active shields, which is cloaking ships, and none of their weapons require a target lock. So the Vidiians could be a bit of a anti-Romulan. Problem is the Romulans are mostly maneuvery stuff, which means the Vidiians aren't going to be very often inside arcs where we just shoot them. But you know, target lots of these that say target stuff at range 1 to 2 either don't require them to be, you know, can be done on ships. It doesn't matter whether they're cloaked or not cloaked. And if you do get a shot with a hypocharge or a grappler, then they've got no active shields because they're cloaked, which means you get to trigger the special ability, free rerolls, you know, rerolling blanks. And the grapplers could be nice. If you manage to hit a cloaked ship with the grappler, lock them to speed 1 maneuver. Speed 1 maneuver. Yes, they can sensor echo, but it means they're much more predictable as where they're going to be next round. Could definitely be something we could do. Could be a new way of going forward. If someone brings Romulans, Vidiians could certainly be a way to counter them. So, thank you very much for joining me. As always, if you've got any comments, any ideas you want to put to me, put them in the comments. I'll read them all, and also if there's any ideas if anyone wants to do, I will happily do them as my following up videos. As always, if you like the video, please like the video. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. It just, you know, there's no way this is ever going to be something that replaces my actual job, and I wouldn't want it to. All a like, a comment, a subscribe means is that someone's liked something that I've done, which is all I'm after here. So thank you very much, and we will see you next time.